Welcome. We're live to the all newly named The Friday Arse Show. How do you two feel about that one?
Can I put a pause after
it? There's nothing wrong with the Friday Arse Show, mate. It can mean so many things. So, yes, welcome to the Friday Arse Show on Arse Brothers. As I've just said, you're joined by myself, Corey. How we doing, mate?
I'm good, thank you. Not bad.
And we're sorry, mate. We're also joined by Jerome, who's actually got his keyboard and mouse back. He's locked his daughter away in the cupboard by the sounds of it this time.
No, she'll break out.
Well, welcome back, my friend.
Yeah, good to be here.
Right, let's get on with the show. We're here going to talk about the upcoming game. What do we think about Leicester then, fellas? How do we feel about it? Do you think it's going to be a good one this week? Corey, I'll come to you, mate. Sorry, I was going to...
Yeah, I'm feeling confident. No reason not to be. They're not in the... I mean, they won in the Europa yesterday, so that's fine. I don't really mean anything. Before that, they lost their last two. One of those was against Aston Villa, but I'm not going to say nothing about Aston Villa because you know what I mean. They're looking like, you know,
the Brazil champion 7-2.
The Brazil team of the 70s. So I can't say nothing about Villa, but they lost their last game. Their last game against us, they lost it. So if we can't go into this game with confidence, then you know.
Yeah, Jerome, confident.
I am feeling confident, but I still think it's going to be a tricky game. We still haven't got our away form fully sorted yet, you know, especially with, you know, but I am confident we should be able to take it, but it's going to be tricky.
Yeah, it is. And I think the worst bit about this game is it's our only one and only box office one. So unfortunately, I don't think I'll be watching it. I'll watch the highlights. Are you going for it?
He's hooked up, isn't it?
He is.
Yeah.
Right. I was having a debate before we go into football. I do get this one for free, but I'll be deadly honest with you guys. I am going to be that person that will pay £15 to watch my boys.
I would, but me and Corey, you would have, if you had joined us last week, you would have known.
I know.
We were talking about box office stuff last week, and I just don't feel £15 worth it.
I have to just remember, not only when I go to any Arsenal match, if I spent only £15, I swear you would see me doing a happy dance every week. So to spend £15 is absolute bargain. Yeah, let's be honest. You spend
it's the experience. When you go to the game, mate, you pay. You're not just paying for the game. You're going for the experience.
But we weren't going to see it before. I weren't going to see it before. I'm paying to see it now. All right, we all pay to go and watch actually Joshua. We all go to pay. Like, how many people are going to go pay Khabib? My thing's football. So I'm sorry. I support my guys.
No, it's fair enough, mate. I'm all for it. I don't diss anyone for paying for it. I don't diss anyone for paying for it. If you want to pay for it, go pay for it. I just don't feel it's worth it. I think. Sorry, excuse me. When you're paying for boxing, for instance, you're getting a good 5-6 hours worth of action, whereas you're only getting hour and a half to 2 hours of stuff.
Agreed. But how many people fight in a night? We'll say 20 fighters?
Something like that, yeah. You get 500 or 600
cards. How many players are we talking about playing in this 90 minutes or an hour and a half?
Probably about 2. So, you know.
Do you know what I mean? I just look at it. I don't necessarily think it's the best price. Don't get me wrong. But I just kind of am, you know what? For once, I'm going to stick my cause in. I've spent enough money on Arsenal. I'd be spending more money on Arsenal.
Fair play, mate. Fair play. You'll have to ring me up, mate, and FaceTime me or something, and I'll watch the game through that.
No problem.
Sounds good to me. Right, we'll get on with it then, shall we? Leicester, formation-wise, I have gone for... Well, we were just discussing it, me and Corey, beforehand. I'm trying to figure out what button I need to press, and I've pressed the wrong one. And again, there we go.
There we are.
Leicester, they are struggling with defensive and a few injuries. So this is the sort of lineup that me and Corey were discussing. Jerome joined us a little bit later, so he didn't get a say.
I think, it's fairly where I think the only person I would have thought is maybe Perez, but I don't know if he's injured or not.
He's injured.
there you go. That's it. So other than that, spot on.
Yeah, they have got a few injuries. The reason why Iheanacho's up there is because Vardy is a doubt. He probably will end up playing, knowing us, but I've put him there because at this moment in time, he is a doubt. So yeah, can you see any issues with that, Corey? I know we was discussing it before, but can you see any difference to that?
Yeah, no, I think that's probably about right. I mean, what we've mentioned before is that Brendan Rodgers doesn't like to change his team too much, regardless of the competition he's in or whatnot. He is a manager that his thing is team chemistry, and the players have an understanding of each other. And I think in a game like this, he can't afford to make too many changes. So I think the team that we saw yesterday will be pretty much the team that we'll see.
Yeah, it's pretty similar. I think the only addition to that is the only additions to the ones I've really gone for yesterday is Maddison, Chowdhury, and Under. I think they're the only really additions that I've added because Maddison didn't play, I don't believe, yesterday. But obviously, if he's fit, then he's going to be one of the first names on the Leicester team sheet. Under will come in for Perez or Pereira. I can't remember his name now. Perez, yeah. So yeah, you did say it earlier, Jerome, and I've just gone straight over. Nah,
he's gone.
So with him being injured, I think Under will come in there, and I've added Chowdhury on there because, well, with his having defensive issues at quite a few defensive injuries at Leicester, similar to what Arsenal have, really. To be fair, I just think he's going to shore up that midfield a bit more. Jerome, yes, no, maybe. Can you see anything slightly different?
I think, the problem is injuries. So other than that, I can't see it being changed.
No.
I think he's going to stick with that. Like we were saying, yeah, sticking with solidarity is the way forward generally, and Rodgers knows that. So yeah, I think we'll go with that back line, and then it's just the changes up top because he has to.
Yeah, I agree. And obviously, I think he likes to play a 5 at the back, similar to what we do in the 5-2-3-1 or 5-2-3. Sorry, I've had an extra player on there, but yeah, I think that's the main issue there with him having that so many problems at defensive injuries. Then yeah, he can't play in other than a 4. I think that's the only issue. Right, we'll get on to the Arsenal side. Slightly different to what we played yesterday with the addition of Xhaka. I've kept Pepe on the right wing because I believe Willian and Ceballos might be out. They're being assessed before the game. Jerome, what do you reckon?
I can see it being that, to be honest.
We've got it wrong before on it. We're terrible. Terrible.
Well, Willian, I just don't know. I don't think he will play or will start even if he is injured or coming back from injury. So I just don't think he'll start. He'll stick with Pepe and want him to keep his match fitness up. Xhaka coming in instead of Elneny. There's no Ceballos, so I don't see Ceballos starting. Bellerin.
Yeah,
it's hard. It's hard to not see a difference in that, to be honest. Unless he decides he wants to go for a 4-3-3. Unless he decides he's going to stick Tierney out on the left and have Bellerin play a back 4.
Yeah, are we at home or away? We're at home, aren't we? Yeah, I can't see the 4-3-3 coming in yet. Still, I was a bit stupid with that last week. Yeah. I did Ceballos and partying with the Man City game. I was like, yay, let's get this in. No, that was silly of me. So yeah, I think it's going to stick to the norm for the time being.
To be fair, it's hard to guess at Arteta's side these days. Most of it, but the full 11 is quite difficult. There's some positions that he likes to chop and change. So
yeah, we could see Ainsley Maitland-Niles come into that team all of a sudden.
But Bellerin played, didn't he, yesterday in the Europa? So yeah, he could see Maitland-Niles there. He could see Maitland-Niles instead of Saka. So,
but Bellerin didn't start. He didn't start. He didn't start.
Yeah. Just like Tierney. So yeah.
Sorry, we've got something from a fellow Arse brother, actually, Ryan. Tielemans will get a shout. Tielemans is injured, mate. That's why I didn't add him onto the Leicester team. So I apologise. I should have mentioned that, but thanks for pointing that out to me, mate. I appreciate it. So yeah, Lacazette is our forward line. It's really hard to judge our forward line at the minute because I'm really disappointed in it. I don't know about you guys. It just doesn't seem much in it at the moment, and I don't know if that's from lack of creativity or I don't know. I'm just really unsure about going forward at the minute, especially with that team up front. With Aubameyang, he can score the goals, but he's not one to drag a team forward. He wants the ball in front of him to go get it and then score the goals. Lacazette, he is a hard worker. Again, he just doesn't score goals. And Pepe, well, he's hit and miss at the minute, I think. I don't know about what you guys think to that. Corey, we'll go to you. Oh, go on, Jerome. Sorry, mate.
Yeah, Pepe's a problem for me because I think he's got the talent, but it's just not happening. I don't know what's happening with him. You see him doing things, it's like he's trying, but something just isn't sitting in. It just ain't happening. Lacazette, I don't know what's happening with him. You know, like last night, simple little things he would normally, I don't know. He's got the confidence. Maybe he's thinking of next year in his contract. You know, we start to think about these players and realistically, agents, maybe is it getting in his head a bit because he's just not playing the same lacquer. Orbs doesn't want to make runs at the moment, which I'm kind of strange about. And I was happy to see last night. So as much as we say about creativity, I felt that probably because Partey was in the team, that's the first time we've seen Orbs and Partey where we've had majority of the ball. He started to make different runs because I felt like that's what's been missing for a little while. Those runs in behind or a little bit of stretching. And we saw that much, much more yesterday than we have in the last 3 or 4 games.
Agree. I tend to agree with that, yeah. Corey, have you got anything to add?
Well, you know, as much as me and everybody else, you know, likes what Arteta's doing, I think it's safe to say most of the fans probably disagree with his team selections a lot of the time. And what I was talking about with Brendan Rodgers in terms of team chemistry and sticking with the same guys and making sure everyone's on the same page, Arteta, I don't think really believes in that. And when we look at someone like Pepe, the best we've seen Pepe is when Maitland-Niles is played behind him.
Yeah.
But we haven't seen Maitland-Niles on the right for a while. You know,
not since last season.
Not since last season. And when he was there, he was really good. And Pepe was playing a lot better. And you know, that's the period of time where we was getting the best out of Pepe. And he did nothing wrong. Then there was a talk about some sort of disciplinary issues. He's late for training or whatnot. Then he got dropped completely. And we remember we were all a bit like, you know, why are you dropping him? He's been really good. And so then he had to like try and work his way back into the team. Then they were going to sell him. And, you know, Wolves were interested. Tottenham were interested. Then they done a U-turn on it. And then we've seen him on the left, but we haven't seen him on the right since last year. And when we look at Aubameyang, how many of us really think that his best position is out on the left? You know, not many. Okay.
I actually do. I don't think he works in the middle. I think he is one of them players that he wants to run at it. He doesn't want it. You know, as a natural forward person, you know what I mean? As a natural forward, you think he's got more space on the left-hand side to make his runs that he wants to do. Whereas if he's in the middle, he won't really have that much space in front of him. You know, it's one of them. I don't know. I'm trying to think of the words for this. But I honestly do think his best position for me, in my opinion, is on that left-hand side. The problem is, I'm finding so far over the last few games, I think he's been, I'm going to say lazy running. I'm not saying lazy running forward rather than, you know, to make that effort to run forward, to make those runs. Not to say the whole of his game's lazy. I just think he has been that slightly it's just niggling me a bit. It's just pissing me off.
Yeah.
if I'm being honest.
The examples I gave from the right side in terms of, you know, 1 minute is Maitland-Niles, then it's Bellerin, 1 minute it's Willian, then it's Pepe. It's just on the left, you know, we've had on that left wing position. We've had Maitland-Niles there. We've had Saka there. We've had Tierney there. Then we've had him at centre back as well. We've had Kolasinac and whatnot. Again, a lot of changes, you know. So when you're Aubameyang, you have to build up an understanding with the player that's going to be sometimes going past you on your wide left. And you have to know, he needs to know you when you're going to cut inside, when, you know, with all these changes in the side, it doesn't help our forward line. That's pretty much what I'm getting at. The forward line don't really know what's going on behind them on a week-to-week basis. And that also translates to midfield as well, right? Is it Ceballos? Is it Xhaka? Is it El Neni? And now we've got Partey there as well. It changes all the time. I think we need to have a settled team now, you know? Stop with the for me, sometimes unnecessary changes. Sometimes it's Laka, sometimes it's Nketiah. Laka was dropped when he was actually on a scoring run. Yeah. For me, I don't know any other manager that does that. If your striker's 3 for 3, not that I'm not loving Lacazette at the moment, but he's scoring goals. So when strikers score, they do not get dropped for the under 21 striker that's, you know, that's on the bench. It just doesn't happen. But yet at Arsenal, it's happened, and there was no reason that I could see for that to happen. So we need to settle side, and I think when we get a settled side, we can get a bit of team chemistry going, and then we might get a bit more out of these players.
I hear you to that degree, Corey. The only thing I kind of agree, we shouldn't have dropped Laka at that time. But I've started to wonder, this is Mikel's approach, like we talk about. You might have been hot on Saturday, but yesterday in training on Friday, you were absolutely pony. I'm not putting you in tomorrow. And I'm not saying I agree with it, but I see it. I fully see what he's doing. And that is him asking, put it all out every week. I want to see you. I'm demanding from you. If I don't see it in training, you're not going to play. May not be right, but that's what our manager's deciding. And that's what I'm really starting to realize. The fact that he omitted out of squad certain people just says it all. You're not willing to show him enough, he's going to do it.
No, that's fair play. It's got some really good points there, actually, to be fair. And I tend to agree with Corey. There is a lot of changes going on. So, yeah, that could affect the front line, especially with the midfield two at the moment. It seems to be either this person, that person, you know, El Nene, Ceballos, Xhaka, El Nene, and now Partey is thrown into that. Yeah, and with the wing backs, I think there's only really one consistent fullback at the minute, and that's Bellerin.
Bellerin, yeah.
You know, like you say, it's either Ayemen, Saka, Tierney, Kolasinac. I can see that, especially with that left-hand side.
I think injuries haven't helped us.
Yeah, that I agree. But I think with that left-hand side being that focal point for this team at the minute, everything seems to be wanting to go to that left-hand side. And that's the issue. That's another issue I've got with our side at the minute and the way we're playing is, why is everything having to go to that left? Why can't we play to that right? You know, mix it up a bit. Everything's so concentrated on that left-hand side just because Aubameyang is there, for instance. I don't know if you guys maybe agree with that or...
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And everyone knows it. Everyone knows it, which means that all the coaches and whatnot that are, you know, at Leicester that are studying Arsenal and how we've played this season, they're going to know it as well. So they know our left side is more dangerous attack-wise than our right side. So they're going to shut that down. And then, you know, we have to go. Then we're going to have to go to our right. Pepe is not going to, you know, he's going to get the ball, lose it, you know, not getting anywhere with it. Bellerin, who I think that a lot of us have been sort of frustrated with on occasion. You know, we don't feel like we're really seeing the best Bellerin. You know,
we haven't for a long time, let's face it. You know, it's not just been 2 or 3 years, it's, you know, 2 or 3 seasons. It's probably more pushing towards the more 4 or 5 seasons we haven't seen the best Bellerin.
I mean, since the injury, pretty much. Since
I
the
was
injury,
just thinking that.
Since the injury. Before the injury, I was happy with him, but since then, it's been difficult for him. So, and it's a bit frustrating because now we've got we brought a backup, right? We've got in Suarez. We've got
who's suffered with injuries and everything that comes with it. And, oh God.
And then we've got Ainsley that could play there as well, and who we were really happy with. So not happy with Bellerin, really happy with Ainsley. One plays every week, one, you know, sometimes with Ainsley. you know, when I look at the matches that we won in the FA Cup and whatnot last year, Ainsley was a big reason that we actually got those wins and that we were pretty hard to beat. Everyone highlighted him as someone that made the difference, especially in this formation. And then he seems to get dropped again for no reason. So you can tell I'm a little bit frustrated, and I don't feel like we play our best side, and I'm not really feeling the constant changes. And I understand, like, in terms of like Jerome said, maybe in training and whatnot. But listen, you know, it's like if they're doing it come the weekend, that's all I care about. I mean, I don't care what happens in training. If they're performing on the night, then you know what I mean, that's what you get paid for.
Well, I think that's the big thing about training as such, and Arteta must know this, because Aguero is terrible at training, but when it comes to match days, when he's fit, he's unreal. You know, he's probably one of the best players in the Premier League. Well, he's been the best striker in the Premier League for a long time. Sometimes for the longest time. So yeah, you know, and apparently his training is terrible. He's probably one of the worst person in training.
On that note, on Mr. Aguero, this may make sense a little bit. Now, you say this, but do you remember when Aguero was the hottest striker in the Premier League and Pep Guardiola decided for Jesus? And we was all confused because Jesus wasn't really hot at that point.
He didn't have backup then, though, did he, Aguero? You know, and he does get injured quite a fair while.
He didn't need to get dropped. At that point, he didn't need to be dropped. We was all confused. There's been points going back at the point that Pep decided, and we were sitting there like, Aguero's on the bench. It's unnecessary. Premier League game. So it happened. It happened. I'm not saying that. It's weird. But
that happens a lot with Pep. I think that's where Aguero got. I mean, not Aguero. That's where Arteta got it from.
Yeah,
I think
that's what I think.
It's like, look, that's not the part of the Pep's teachings that you should take, because that Pep constantly shoots himself in the foot, especially in the Champions League with his unnecessary rotation. He loses players like someone like Leroy Sané, right? Who, for me, he's one of the sickest wingers in world football, right? And I will see him go on a tear and then get dropped, and he's back on the bench. And then Bernardo Silva, I was like, what are you doing? When someone's hot, you keep playing them until they're not hurt anymore. But he just feels like, I need to change it. I need to, you know, save their legs. I need to rest.
There's only some people is like that, and that's what's really frustrating, though, because it becomes like they do have their favourites still. Because look at City, you never see Sterling get dropped too often. It was always like, as you say, the Sané. Like, yeah. So it's weird.
Unless he's injured, you never see De Bruyne getting dropped, do you?
Yeah, there's certain people that don't get pulled out, but you think to yourself, okay, give him a break. Someone else can do the job this week. You're only playing Norwich. Oh, you're still playing De Bruyne. Okay. But do you know what I mean? Like, that's what they would do.
And Pep is like, when De Bruyne was injured for the season, that's when they won the league. And because with that, I thought when you have to take out a few players, when there's a few injuries and stuff, and he can't rotate as much as he would like, and he's forced to play certain players, and he can get some consistency in the side, then good things happen. If you look at Jurgen Klopp, you know, that front three does not change unless, you know, it's a different competition, a lesser competition, or whatever. But apart from that, the front and the back, he keeps that consistent. They've got really good chemistry with each other. You know, Firmino, Mane, Salah, really good chemistry. They know where to be, when to cross over, when to drop deep, when to make runs, and that's a big part of his game. He's the same at Borussia Dortmund, but do you know what I mean? And same, just like I said with Brendan Rodgers as well, keeps it the same.
Well, I do find that generally a team that does win the league is very consistent. If you look back at the Leicester team that actually won the league, it was near enough the same team from the season before. 1 or 2 adjustments. Do you know, like you're saying, if you get that chemistry right throughout, Liverpool have had that chemistry. What was it, at home now for 3 years where they didn't lose or something silly? Do you know, have they not lost still at home in the Prem or something like that?
Yeah, I don't think they've lost at home for the last 3.5 years. I think it is now.
And that was Van Dijk come in, shut down. Do you know what I mean? It's ridiculous that you have the same consistent basis. I do, like you say, the chemistry is held. So it would be nice for us to be able to have the back 4 or whatever it is and just stay with that for the rest of the season. And but I do think injuries are half of the issues.
Yeah, our defensive injuries are definitely an issue. We are being joined, fellas. We've been joined by another fellow Arse brother. Ryan, how we doing, mate?
What's going on? I'm all right. Yesterday's game kind of put me to the edge a little.
All right. Well, we'll meet Jerome and Corey, my friends. This is Ryan, guys.
What's going on?
How you doing, Ryan?
How you doing, bro?
Did you watch the game yesterday then?
Yeah, unfortunately, I did. It's funny too because I was supposed to be at work, so I was gonna miss it, and then I got hurt. I got hurt playing, so I've been home. And
I don't want to know what you were hurt playing doing.
Well, we talked about it on Same Old Arsenal. I got hurt playing with myself, but that's not what happened. But anyways, yeah. So I was a little upset. I was more upset I got hurt now because that was just like the worst game ever. I don't think I've ever been that upset after a win before. And then I figured
you've been watching the same Arsenal over the last 2 years or what?
Yeah. Well, after a win against a team from Austria, who I thought we would, I thought we would deal with pretty handily. The one player that on their team that I was worried about was Taxi from Nugo. I don't want to butcher his name, but yeah, he's one of their forwards. He ended up scoring for them actually due to our mistakes. What else is new? But yeah, it was definitely something I didn't really expect. Well, but then again, you think back again, like you were saying, as an Arsenal fan for 2 years, yeah, you do expect it. So, but yes,
we went to places in the last year. We went to some awful places in the Europa League, and you thought, oh my god, are we going to get a result out of this?
Yeah,
I went to Belgium.
And it's funny too because I started listening to the show here and I'm like, oh, this is great. Talking about Leicester, totally not even talking about the game last night. Where it's a new day.
Premier League preview, mate.
Yeah, no, I know.
The game was yesterday. Everyone watched. Everyone saw how shit we were. So you just move on, don't you? And we're moving on to the Leicester game.
Yeah, that's why I was happy. I was like, all right, cool. Like, let's turn the page. Let's But then again, the same thing might happen on Sunday. So I don't even know. I really don't know.
I think when we think about last night, I also want to say how shit we were doesn't matter. Because I remember growing up watching us be shit and lose. So being shit and winning is what counts. The 3 points.
Yeah, that's true.
I think. Sorry, go on.
I want more. Don't get me wrong. I want more. But I could still walk away with a smile on my face. You get me? Because it's very hard to walk away and then we played shit. And I'm going to have to hold corn for the rest of the week. So I'd rather play shit.
It's funny too because after the Man City game, me and a bunch of people were talking and like, "Well, we'd rather lose, in a shitty game than win." Oh wait, no, we'd rather win in a shitty game than lose beautifully. So I think that was this game was kind of the test. It's like, well, we got, I guess the 3 points in Europa, but we got the 3 points, and it was one of the worst games I've ever watched, and that's after the Man City game, which I thought was a pretty terrible game. So yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of thinking back. Maybe I do want to lose beautifully because I was having a heart attack every 5 minutes watching that game yesterday. I was screaming at all the players, like I was on the sideline. I was going crazy, and not good for the old ticker.
Yeah, I'm a bit with Ryan on this one. For like last, I was watching the first sort of 20-30 minutes. I was like, oh my god, this is shit. Like, I think we had one shot that was on target, and it might have been blocked. It was just real dire football, and yeah, you have to remind us that we're playing Rapid Vienna, and a game like that by itself in isolation is cool, right? But we haven't been that exciting to watch this season so far. So so when we're playing lesser opposition like this, you kind of hope that we can sort of just relax a little bit, play some football. Do you know what I mean? Have some fun. Do you know what I mean? You ain't really shouldn't have really much to worry about. But instead, it was really slow, ponderous, unimaginative football. And yeah, and so even after we got the win, where we had to bring on Aubameyang.
Yeah. That was. I was screaming when we brought him on. I was so upset.
Yeah, we had to bring him on. That should never happen. And we sneaked it, and it's like, all right, it's cool, but it's just it doesn't make you excited for the next match. Do you know?
Like we say, a win's a win at the end of the day. So it's 3 points. It's 3 points in the bag in a Europa League game. So yeah, Premier League game. yeah, we move on. We're going to move on to the Premier League against Leicester.
Please move on.
Please move on. But yeah, I also wanted to talk about just sort of quickly before we do anything else. What did we make of the recent statements on Twitter and Facebook from Ozil? Corey, go on.
Why did I come in? I'm already regretting coming in here.
My only thing with regards to the statement is simply Ainsley Maitland-Niles' response was good enough for me. Forget Mikel's. Mikel's was always going to be good enough. Ainsley Maitland-Niles.
I didn't see it.
Maitland-Niles got interviewed and he said, "Look, we'll resolve this on the training ground," and talk to him and support him. So that just really shows he's been known from ages, and it's just a pile of bullshit, just trying to get out there, trying to make Arsenal look bad. Everyone's talking about class. Grow the fuck up and get some balls. Do your job, and then you wouldn't be in this situation. No problem. Just hold your money and hold your quarter and not play then. Like, whatever, innit? It's cool.
Yeah, it's a tough situation because people, you have the camps that saying he's not playing because he's not good enough. Simple as that. Or you have the other camps like, because of his comments about China and his friends in Turkey.
His political side, yeah.
Yeah, and it provides such a gray area, and it kind of really throws a wrench in the plan because, let's face it, a couple of years ago, the guy was world class. Guy was just the things I do think some of the passing that he has done, he still can do. But when we don't have the ball and when we're trying to, get into the game, we're playing with 10 men. We're down a man. That's how I see it. And it's tough because you're always going to have go fuck yourself, Max. Sorry. You're always going to have different sides of every argument. You're always going to be like, well, it's political. It's nothing to do with his playing. It's like, well, I think it's personally, I think it's both, but frankly, I don't care because he's not playing. He's not in the squads. Just I want him blocked. I want Arsenal block him on Twitter. I want him out of sight, out of mind. That's it. Right, done. Get him out.
Why I'll simply say, if it is for a political stance, I'm going to say it like this, yeah? None of these players openly come out and talk about the racism that they endure in this country and the shit that happens in this country or wherever else, but they want to talk about China. Then that's basically Arsenal saying, look, you can't fucking say about what's going on in fucking London. What are you talking about over there for?
Right.
And to compare it to American sports, since the whole virus is kind of throwing everything around, but you have all the Black Lives Matter and everything like that. All the American sports that are trying to politicize it, like the NFL, the NBA, all the ratings for American sports, except for the UFC, who hasn't even touched anything political, have gone shooting down. Nobody wants to watch sports that involve politics at all. You have LeBron James coming out. I think he was kind of talking about the Hong Kong situation a little bit, and he was like touching on it. And then all of a sudden, you didn't hear anything from him. He shut up because he knew, because a lot of his merchandise is made in China. So it's just such a I can't think of the word, but it's just a thing that you don't want to touch. You don't want to
taking the
bear, so to speak.
Yeah, let's take the political side out of it because I think that's pushing it too far. I think the political side. I think that's going from, say, where it is to over in China. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it shouldn't be brought in.
Like exactly, I completely agree.
Let's not get into the political side of it. I think this with Ozil, I think it's more football for me. It's not the football side of it, not the political side. We've been joined by. Sorry, Corey, I'm just going to interrupt quick. We've also been joined by another Arse brother in Manny. Welcome, mate. How are we doing?
I'm good, but I'm just passing through. Literally, I go on to, I'm coming off of same old Arsenal, and I see that you lot were, coming on live, but so I thought I'd pop in and see what's going on with you boys.
Yeah, well, we're all right. We thought we'd get into a little Ozil talk because of the statement that came out recently. I know you've had a hell of a lot to say about it. If you want to just run through quick, if you want to go through what.
The Ozil is, if somebody was to tell you that you're in an abusive relationship, right? You have a choice of either leaving or staying in the abusive relationship. So Mesut Ozil had a choice. You could either leave and play football, or you could either stay and be sat on the bench and you can do nothing about it. He chose to stay, and he's talking about loyalty. I've never seen a player as divisive. I've never seen a player as divisive. I've never seen a player as manipulative as this dude. This is a player who's done the bare minimum, right? The bare minimum. And he's got all of these loyal people, falling for it. And you know what? You know what it is, people? You know what it is? People seem to forget. They seem to forget how poor this guy was when he was on the football pitch. People seem to forget this is a guy who was being marked out of games by Jorginho and Jack Cork with ease. With ease. People forget when they talk about creativity, right? This guy gave you 2 assists, right? 2 assists in a whole season. This is what he gave you. This is for all your loyalty and for all your love of him. He gave you 2 assists, right? In a whole season. People seem to forget that Mesut Ozil, when he was on that football pitch, was poor. When Emery asked him, I need you to do one thing for me in the Europa League final. Just do one thing for me. Just stand on Jorginho and don't let him get the ball. 15 minutes. 15 minutes. That's all it took for Ozil to go, nah, fuck it, I can't be bothered. People forget, man. They forget. Let him rot, right? Let him rot. This is what he wanted. This is what he asked for. Nobody said you have to stay here. Nobody said, you know what, stay here and we'll pay you this money. He knew he wasn't going to be in the squad. He knew he wasn't going to play football. He wanted this. So let him rot, bruv. Let him rot. This is what he wanted. This is what he wanted, man.
Go on, Corey, mate. No, hang on, Ryan. Let Corey have a go, mate. You've talked enough. I'm going to mute you.
No, 100% what Manny's saying. But I can imagine the meetings that they had with him. Yeah, they said, "Look, you've been shit. Yeah, you're no longer part of the plans. Do you know what I mean, find another club, right? They know the money's on and everything. Find another club." He knows he's been shit. 2 assists, like Manny said. Obviously, you're not going to get 350k anywhere else. So he knows that he's on. They fucked up by giving him such a big contract. He's going to see it out. They said to him, look, if you don't find yourself another club, if you don't accept these offers, we're not going to play you. And that's it. And so that's exactly what's happened. He didn't find another club, made no effort. His agents and that said, sit tight. So he's not getting played. Then he wants to come out like with these statements and whatnot, trying to play the victim when he knows this is football. When a club doesn't want you, they don't want you. And if they don't want you and you refuse to go, then you're not going to play. Simple as that. It's just because he's got a big name that is such a talking point. But this happens every day.
This is true. And I'm with you on that one, mate. And I think as we're going on football terms with it, and I'm very, obviously, me and Manny have talked about Ozil through messengers and stuff like that, through messages and stuff. So we know where we're coming from in this. And I think through the football terms, you've got to think, the Premier League game has moved on from Ozil and Ozil's style of player. Now, if you want to look at Ozil and his style of player now, you look at Kevin De Bruyne. He does everything, including defensive work, attacking work, and creativity. Ozil does one of those 3 things.
And not very well.
Creativity. And his last season of doing creativity, like Manny and you've just said, Corey, was 2. That's not good enough at all.
It hasn't been for about 5 years now.
And I think when he goes on about loyalty and stuff like that, and this is about loyalty, and to me that was really disrespectful of the club that we all love.
Scunny, you know what that was?
And I hate it. And
Scunny, you know what that was? You know what that was, mate? You know what that was? That was, playing on the emotions on people who are going to believe anything that he says. Right? There are people out there who believe that he loves the football club. The only way you can truly show fans of this club, real fans of this club, that you love this football club is by going out there week in, week out and performing. Ozil knows that there is a section of this fan base he can say wherever he likes to and they will believe it. As far as saying, you know what, I'm going to play, I'm going to pay Gunnosaurus's wages. Propaganda. Or better yet, look at yesterday. You see how active he was on his Twitter. He's never been that way during an Arsenal game. Never.
No, I know.
But why is he doing it now? Exactly. Why is he doing it now? Because there's a section of this fan base he can do no wrong. He can do no wrong. Like I've said it to you guys privately, and I'm going to say it on here. Mesut Ozil is a reincarnation of what Arsene Wenger used to do for this club. Whatever Arsene Wenger said, some people believed it as gospel. And if you dare to go against it, you were the toxic one. That's exactly the same. This guy here is a propaganda genius. You have to give him that. But he's not a fucking legend, bruv. He's nothing. He is nothing. But there you go. This is that people believe whatever he wants to do. People believe he loves the club. People believe it's not about money. People believe it's about vegan Muslims. Yet he is fans and he is friends with somebody who abuses those Muslims, who abuses his human rights, who fucks up his own people, who is a violator of those same human rights that he's talking about. But it's Arsenal's fault. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, it is what it is.
Well, I did want to keep the politics out of it, mate, to be fair.
But it's true.
But it's true. But it is true. It is true.
But it is true.
Let's just be honest. He's been shit for 5 years. It's end of. Let's leave Ozil. I think he's depressing me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's depressed us all, mate. It has depressed us all. But I wanted to get in because it's only just been recently happened. And Manny, like I said there yesterday, during the game, he was very, very active on his social media, and he's never been that active on social media about Arsenal playing football.
And did you see his tweet about who was the player of the match? Like who was your man of the match?
Like,
oh my god!
And to be fair, I didn't even my man of the match was Gabriel. He wasn't even on there, so I was like, all right, like whatever. I mean, I was just I don't know if maybe he put 4 of his buddies like. About
I don't even think it's all these statements and stuff. I'm reading it. I'm like, you didn't write this. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's not even him. I don't even know if this is.
He's got a good agent at talking shit, hasn't he? Really?
Yeah, I don't even know if it's all his idea. I just feel like
it's a team.
He's going into the last year of he's in the last year of his contract now, so he knows that it's going to come to an end, and he's not ready to stop earning money. So he's trying to do as much for his own image as he can, so that when he can find a club when his contract expires. That's what
he's going to make it healthy. He's going to make it healthy for this football club for as long as he's here. He's going to play this propaganda game with the club as much as possible. So you guys need to be ready for it because it's not going to stop.
I think it's going to be after the season still. I don't believe he's leaving London. From what things I started reading, I started looking into him. His basis of his physiotherapy thing he owns, his sports stat company, his esports companies, they're all based here. Be prepared for Mesut to live in London.
He's got a lot of charities in there as well, I believe.
Well, let's be honest. He might say to himself, "I don't want to play football no more." He could be making enough from esports. He's got plenty of players making money.
I know, but I think he wants to play. I think he does want to play.
Man, he would have left.
A lot of people out there making a lot of money on esports.
He does not want. He doesn't want to play football no more. He doesn't.
No, but he's got the greatest gig ever. Right, where you can be paid an amazing amount of money for just turning up and training. This is the gig right now. He doesn't have to get fit to play football. He doesn't have to do any of that, man. He's got the perfect gig, bruv. He's not going anywhere. He doesn't want to play football. And like Max said before, you don't be surprised if Mesut Ozil retires at the end of the season, bruv.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
And it's funny, you talk about loyalty. His version of loyalty is collecting that $8 million loyalty bonus that he got for being on the roster. Well, I don't know what the date was, but he got an $8 million loyalty bonus because he was on the Arsenal roster. Like, yeah, that's
pound. Well,
all right.
But listen, boys. But Stunny, thank you for having me on quickly. I'm gonna get off. Stunny, I'm gonna get off. You know what I mean? I'm gonna rush off. Thank you guys for having me on briefly, man. You guys have a great show, and I'll see you lot on the next one, man.
Cheers for your input.
Take it easy, buddy.
Catch you later. Right, well, we're getting off Ozil because I've had enough now. It's pissing me off. I hope I've said this right. It's Tashi has made a good comment here, which I wanted to bring in. Are we overreacting to Leno's mistake? Should we even compare him with Emmy? It's another thing I'd like to get into because I'm sick to death of Arsenal fans comparing him to Martinez. Stop! Just fucking stop! Seriously, he's gone. He's out. Leave. Seriously. Jerome, I can see you.
I don't know about the words. I don't know what to say. I just feel like telling me, you know what? If you're going to keep comparing, just fuck off. You know me. Just fuck off. Stop comparing. It's absolutely bullshit. Are we comparing Lacazette to fucking Van Persie still? No, we're not. So it fucking doesn't matter. We just support the players that are here. People make mistakes. I was talking about it with a mate at work today. David De Gea, everyone said was the best keeper in the world at one point. How many mistakes has he made in the last 3 years? He's still number one, and people are still saying, I still want David De Gea. But Leno makes a mistake, and fuck me. Oh, why we should have kept Martinez. Man United had Romero sitting in the back, and they had Henderson. What? And they still kept De Gea in, and we're all going, hello?
Henderson's back.
So what are we whinging about here?
Still not getting in the game. De Gea's still in front of him.
But then they also have to look at this realistically. So we was going to get rid of Martinez. No, keep Martinez and sell Leno, who we got last year. Was there anyone in for Leno? No. Even if we were we going to get the money that we wanted at that point? Probably not. Let's look at it realistically. Just deal with the scenario. We've got Leno. He might make a mistake or two. So will Luis. So will Tierney. So will Bellerin. So will Xhaka. It's fucking football. They're not robots.
Fair play. Corey, do you got anything to say?
Yeah, no, it's just look. That's Leno making a mistake is nothing new. Yeah, we know what his strengths are. We know what his weaknesses are. Okay, and we accept him for that. And we've already worked out that his pros outweigh his cons. Right. So every so often he's going to make a mistake. I'd rather him do it in the Europa League against Rapid Vienna, and then we end up winning the game, than in a big match. And so far, he's been all right. So. He's going to let him get the mistakes out. Let him do it in games where we win the game anyway. No big deals. All right.
Well,
it didn't cost anything.
Yeah, last couple of seasons he was rated either above or below Aubameyang as our player of the season.
Yeah.
The last 2 seasons.
Yeah. So yeah, he's going to make a mistake. All right, cool, man. But the shots that he stops and his overall play is right up there with some of the best keepers in the world. So, and that's why we kept.
They all make mistakes, and I agree with you there. Alisson made a mistake against us, and he's highly regarded as one of the best goalkeepers in the world. He made a mistake against us.
It's just everyone knows the stories of goalkeepers. It's like
shit happens.
Yeah, it's like okay, when a goalkeeper makes a mistake, yeah, it could cost you a goal. Whereas if a midfielder or anywhere else on the pitch they make a mistake, then it costs
us a goal because that's normally what happens.
But it's not usually such a big deal. Oh, I lost the ball. All right, cool. Yeah. We win it back. Goalkeeper, you're the last line of defense. So you're always going to get that criticism. You're going to be scrutinized, but let's not pander to it. It's it's nothing. It's no big deal.
We also talk about like being nervous because let's be honest, with the ball at his feet, Leno's not the most confident. Yeah. It's our back four at the moment. It's working at times, passing the ball, finding our way out. It's working. But I also think last night was the first game that Arsenal played with some fans there. Yes, it was only 3,000. But it changed, I think, our players at first because it was just 3,000 of their fans cheering and making noises. It kind of threw them off. They ain't had that for, 6 months?
Yeah, you could have a point there. Ryan, you got anything? We'll get your last words, mate, and then I think we'll call it time.
So, Emi Martinez. Well, I'll talk about Leno. So, I don't think Leno's mistakes wouldn't have been under such a magnifying glass had our team been up 3-0, or had we been playing normal. I want to say normal because we should be running Rapid Vienna off the pitch every time we play them. So we were playing. To me, it was just a recipe for disaster. I honestly don't blame Leno for his mistakes as much as everyone else's. I thought Luis's passing was a little slow. Not really his decision. Luis was kind of like, oh yeah, here you go. I think Luis kind of put him in some shitty spots as well. But whatever, he made Leno made mistakes, and it is what it is. The thing I'll say about Emi Martinez, which this is, I think this more gets me more upset than the whole comparing thing. Emi Martinez was at our club for 10 years. He went on loan 6 times. And what's the best team he got loaned out to? I don't know, probably the Wolves, but that wasn't the Wolves in the Championship. Maybe Getafe in La Liga. Like he didn't get loaned out anywhere. What was it? This Sheffield Wednesday. Rotherham. I definitely butchered that name wrong.
Rotherham.
Yeah, I already know I butchered that. Oxford United. Like he. It's not like he's getting loaned out to Barcelona. It's not like he's getting loaned out to all these top clubs. And we're really missing a gem here. And all of a sudden he comes back with no fans. He takes over for, like I said, I think you said, Mike, arguably our best player at the season at that point, him or Aubameyang. And he has to be honest, I doubted him, but he had a couple really good games. Now all of a sudden everyone's up in arms about him. I don't think he's a terrible goalie, but all of us, in the club for 10 years, getting loaned out 6 different times, you would think somebody in the club would be like, I don't think we should get loaned. I think maybe he has a chance to get into the first team, because let's face it, we've had goalie problems for a while as well. We fucking signed Czech from Chelsea. Like, come on. Like it's just I just don't understand where people's heads are at with this whole situation. And don't get me wrong, I do think Emi Martinez is not a terrible goalie, and I think he's done a really good job for Villa. They've conceded the least amount of goals, and guess who's right behind them? Us. So, but I said this on multiple podcasts, and I'm going to say it again. I think when fans finally come back into the stadium, I think people are going to really find out about Emi Martinez. I don't think he's going to keep this charade up. I really don't. I think when fans come in, kind of give him something to listen to, I think he's going to start making some mistakes that he was making for us. I think I think it was last year or 2 years ago when he played in the Europa League for us, he made quite a few mistakes for us. And I remember going on about it because I was pro Matt Macy at that point, which fuck me, right? But yeah, it's not gonna be like this forever. You just gotta kind of put your head down and just keep it.
The last game I saw him play for us before he had that good 10-run streak for us was the Liverpool in, I think it was the Carabao Cup, and it was 5-5 and it went to penalties. And that was the last time I saw Martinez play in an Arsenal shirt before his run. So that's what made me decide on him at the time there. But with him playing that really good 10-game run for us, that was good business by Arsenal, I think. If he didn't play very well, he was a £3 million keeper. If he played them 10 games well, he was a £20 million keeper. That's good business. So the way I see it is we got a good deal out of that. With him playing well. So yeah, he's moved on. He's done what he wanted to do. He wanted first team football. Leave him to it. Let him get on with it. We've got Leno. It's not a bad deal the way I see it.
I love Leno. So
I was just sitting there thinking about it, and it just kind of feels like Arsenal fans always want to make a decision different to the club. Last year, if you remember correctly, it was Pepe. They sulked all season about Zaha. This year, they're talking all year about Martinez. It's just going to be what they want. I understand that Zaha would have been great. Don't get me wrong, but it didn't happen. But we can't sulk about it all year long. I don't want to hear about it for the rest of the season.
And I say this all the time. There's fans in this. You could say probably fans everywhere, but there's fans in this club that just want to watch the world burn. They don't care what happens. They just want to be negative. They just want to yell, argue. They want to be trolls on Twitter. They want to be trolls on Facebook, wherever. They want to see everyone panic and argue and curse each other out. That's just how people are.
Arsenal fans are really good at arguing with each other. We're the best fans for it. Definitely. Corey, have you got any last words, mate?
No. I think you said it all. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to leave with these words. The thing is, players come and go. Arsenal club is always there. And if you're a player, you play for the name on the front of the shirt before you play for the name on the back of the shirt. Simple as that. And I'm going to leave with them words. Everyone else, you can shut up now. I'm not getting into it. Right, well, thanks for joining us at the newly named Friday Arse show. Well, and happy that. And there's been plenty of arses in this room. We've had 5 at one point, so we're all good. Right, thanks for joining me, guys. As again, we'll probably be back next Friday because we've got bugger all lots to do on a Friday night. I think I'm too old and I've got 4 kids, so that's my issue. Ryan, it's a pleasure, mate, for having you in with your American bollocks.
Yeah, I can't pronounce shit. I'm like Max, but I'm more vocal. My spelling's okay, but I can't pronounce any of these English cities. Like I'm pretty awful. So
no, you can't even say cities. You say shitties.
Yeah, there we go.
You're terrible, mate. Jerome, Corey, pleasure as always, my friends.
Salute.
We'll probably be back with you again next week for the next game. Who are we playing next? Does anyone know? I didn't even look up. I should know this. This is meant to be sort of a preview show. But
after Leicester, who are we playing? We have Man U. We have Man U. Well, we have Europa.
Man United.
And we have Man United.
Yeah.
Oh, no one give a shit about Europa on this one. We have a little mention, then we just go on to the Premier League. That's the way it is with this show.
Yeah, we have Man U.
So we got Man U.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I know, Nardi, I hate Man U more than Tottenham. So like, I have a lot of Man U friends. So we need to win that game. We have to. I can't deal with it.
Well, I live up north in the UK, so I've got Man U fans all over the place.
They're the worst.
I live in London. I have Man U friends.
Fair play. Right, guys. Thanks very much for joining us. If you want to get in, see us again, we do have a subscribe button on YouTube. If you really, really like us, click the bell. Also, please click the like button. It's always nice. Even if you don't like it, please click it. It's nice to get our videos out there. We are sort of new with this show, and we appreciate a like. And not to forget, I keep remember this on here. Max's brother Toby, who's a fellow Arse, the OG Arse brothers. Toby, you're a cunt. I had to keep pointing that out. Thanks for joining us, guys. See you later.